All right, so now we go into the content section of this. Many years, and even today, a lot of folks say that content is king. But we feel, and especially at Brandify, this is so important, that content is very important, but it's the context that's king, right? So who are you talking to? What is the message you're trying to convey? And what's sort of your end result that you're trying to get from it? So this is a really simplified equation that we like to think about whenever we're thinking, hey, we want to promote something or we want to sort of drive a very specific action. We try to take a step back and think about the context around the current environment out there. So a good piece of content starts with thinking about where do you want to release it. So is it going to be on your blog? Is it going to be a video on YouTube? Is it going to be Facebook? Typically, James and I like to say, let's start with the blog and then how can we chop it up? But some people's digital strategy might be, hey, we're really into Instagram, right? The kind of content that you post on Instagram is going to be very different from what you post on Twitter or what you post on Facebook. So when I say content, I'm basically saying think about where you're going to post it and what parameters that you need to fit within. And then people. So this really is a simple way of saying, who is your audience? Who am I trying to speak to? So for a couple of years, I was the digital marketing manager for Royal Hawaiian Orchards, which is the biggest. They own like 90% of the macadamia nut farms in the U.S. So if you've ever eaten a macadamia nut, it probably came from them. And we had an interesting challenge. When I came on board, the company had just switched from pretty much exclusively selling private label, just basically shipping the nuts out to whoever needed them, to saying, you know what, we're actually going to start, ending our contracts with these private label folks so that we can actually get more of the macadamia nuts, and they launched their own brand. So now we want to sell these nuts branded at a premium price. So we started thinking about who do we want to sell this to, and our core market was educated women who are looking to snack healthy and are looking for additional health benefits from the foods that they're snacking on. And we had a lot of science around that there's good fats in macadamia nuts, and so we were trying to push that. So when I stepped in, I took over from an agency that was just sort of trying to push the products to whoever. It didn't matter, let's get it out there. But we had to take a step back and say, well, who are the people we're trying to talk to? And what are the sort of things that appeal to them? And so what we did was we created these individual. First, we started with sort of this customer avatar. So we created an image of what does the ideal customer look like, but not only look like, what do they do? Where do they work? Where do they live? How much do they actually spend on snacking? What are the moments that they snack? When they snack the most? And so we developed a strategy around 4 buckets. And those buckets were, okay, work snacking, adding to your meals, workout, and then like travel and vacation. Like how do you relax? Because we had the whole benefit of being Hawaiian, so we could go off this idea of aloha. Where's your aloha? And so when we stopped and broke it down into those buckets, we made sure we were focusing our efforts on those 4 buckets. And if an idea came up that didn't appeal to one of those 4 buckets, we didn't do it, right? We made sure that we focused on who are we trying to sell to? Let's create content for them. And then you want to think about the time. And when I say time, I really mean it's the environment around your ideal customer. So what are the sort of things that are going on in their world? And what's going to be important to them? Are there events that are going on that you need to make sure you create content around? Or are there events going on that you're not going to bother, right? So for Royal Hawaiian Orchards, when National Donut Day came along, we didn't create a piece of content around that was donut related. But when National Nut Day came along, we of course jumped on that. Or when National Yoga Day came along, because we were focusing on fitness, we jumped on that, right? One good example is Oreo. I don't know if anyone remembers the game. It was San Francisco versus the Ravens. The Ravens won that, right?
They did.
That's a bummer. We're big Steeler fans. But during that Super Bowl, take care. Yeah, enjoy. Thanks for being here. I don't know if you guys remember that Super Bowl, but the lights went out halfway through, and the most successful campaign came from Oreo. They won awards on this, and it wasn't a commercial that they paid millions of dollars for that 30-second spot. It was literally a black picture posted on Facebook, and it had words, "You can still dunk in the dark," right? So yeah, the lights are out, but you can still dunk. Why did they do that? Because they understood, one, where did they want to post their content? They thought, we're not going to get any bang for our buck doing a commercial. Let's do social, but let's do social in real time. So they had a room similar to this. They had their graphic designer, they had their lawyer, and they had their content people sitting in a room watching the Super Bowl, waiting for the right moment to do something contextual, right, around the people that they wanted to appeal to, which were the folks that were watching the game. These are younger, mostly males who are into snacking on things that aren't necessarily healthy because they're going to make it up the next day in the gym, right? So they're eating Oreos, they're eating, the different things during the game. And so they posted that. They spent the least. They got a huge sort of engagement, people going to their website, and they won awards based off of it because they kept in mind, what's the kind of content we want to go after? Let's not do things that we don't think are going to work. Who are the people, and what are they participating in? Yeah.
They did that during the game?
Yeah.
When it happened?
Mm-hmm.
So it was quick.
It was quick. It was real time, right? Because as you look at studies that are out there, people are creating sort of these two-screen experiences when they're watching TV now, and that's even if they're watching it on a TV, right? So I don't know how many of you have your laptop or your phone out when you're watching TV, but I definitely do. And sometimes when commercials come up, I'll jump on my phone, or whatever the situation is. Some folks, even at the NFL, provides a second screen experience. So hey, when the commercials are on, come over to NFL.com and you can see things from different angles, right? So Oreo understood this trend and knew that their core audience was going to be highly tuned into social media. That's why they wanted to post content there. And then obviously the lights went out. So what's everyone going to do? Jump to Facebook and talk about it. So it was highly shared and really, really engaging. So that's sort of our main role. Other things that I want you to think about when you're thinking social, and we talk about this a lot in the boot camp, but too often, when I was brought into Royal Hawaiian Orchards, the CEO basically said, let's get on everything. Let's do Pinterest, let's do Twitter, let's do Instagram, can we do YouTube? And you have to take a step back as someone who's trying to get the most bang for their buck. You only have so much time in a day, only so much bandwidth. You have to look at each platform and think about, is my customer there?